Kia ora, my name's Emily and I am a PGY2 at CCDHB.
Kia ora, I'm Shay. I'm a second year house officer at Wellington Hospital.
Hi, I'm Ing, one of a PGY2 house surgeon. I'm currently in pediatric surgery at CCDHB.
Hello, my name is Von Paolo. I'm a PGY1 doctor here at Wellington Hospital, currently doing general medicine.
Probably one of the main things that you need to think about when you're coming to a DHB is actually the things outside of work, because believe it or not, in your first year as a house surgeon, it's those things that matter most. So thinking about your support systems and thinking about the place to live in as a whole. So I found Wellington absolutely amazing in terms of the range of activities, sports and clubs that you can get involved in, as well as the cafe scene, of course. In addition to that, I had a really robust support network, and as I say, this is so important and can't be emphasised enough.
Coming to Wellington was just a given. I've got family here. I went to school just down the road at Wellington College. I also got into an expensive hobby at med school, got into mountain biking. So this place has got heaps of trails and tracks.
And I've got this kind of aspiration to work in the coolest little capital in the world.
If you're interested in the outdoors, there are also plenty of opportunities for you in Wellington. Lots of walks, beaches, mountains to climb and places to explore.
So I've been exposed to medical specialties, surgical specialties and community specialties.
The Wellington region offers both the big hospital experience and the little hospital experience. So coming into a tertiary centre, I see lots of cool surgeries, lots of very rare pathology, lots of subspecialised things.
Like many of you, I probably didn't know exactly what I wanted to do when I left medical school.
This year was an amazing experience. I'm not going to deny it started off pretty tough. It was a new environment, but getting into general medicine, it was a great run to start off with, and then going on to general surgery, I got more freedom and being able to do more ward work as a house officer was quite an experience as well.
I thought that the peer educational supervisors were really supportive and on the ball when it came to recognising what my requirements were for getting my general registration.
The first couple of runs as a PGY1 have been wonderful. I started the year with neurosurgery, which has been a wonderful experience, a great team with lots of subspecialised and cool surgeries.
In the Wellington region, you get to have the opportunity to work in 4 different hospitals, and that's across 3 different DHBs. And of the 4 different hospitals, we've got tertiary level care hospital, secondary level care hospital, and also a rural hospital.
Being an Auckland graduate in what has traditionally been Otago territory has been a breeze. I've made lots of friends. Everyone's been very, very kind, very friendly, and that has added to my experience here.
Formal teaching is really well protected and really well respected by all of the clinical teams that I've been on.
They've got a diverse range of teaching topics, and this continues as you go to Wairarapa or Kenepuru, anywhere across the region. There's a big emphasis on continual educational development. What topped it off for my year was being on orthopaedics in Wairarapa. There's no registrar out there, so I'm the only house officer covering the department. The bosses are great. I'm basically operating as a registrar, doing the ward rounds, doing the paperwork, going off to theatre and helping and assisting in theatre, and then coming back and doing the paperwork as well. So that was an amazing experience.
So my educational supervisor is Lupe Tamapeao, and she's been wonderful. She's given me lots of career advice, been very supportive throughout the whole process, and has basically made me feel welcome here in Wellington and has kind of guided a path as to where I would like to be in the foreseeable future.
The RMO unit has been very supportive and helpful in allowing us to go to conferences and courses, workshops, and also letting some of the house officers, like myself, sit our surgical exams early in advance. So it's a great unit.
It's the best place to be, it's the best of both worlds.
I feel really well prepared to make my next career steps, no matter what they are.
Going forward, I've definitely signed up for another year. That's how much I've loved this place.
And we've got a question from Nadine about whether or not there are any Maori peers or mentors, and I'm very happy, excited to announce that we are doing much better on that. We have a group, which is an informal group, of Maori junior doctors who are very sociable and very supportive. But that was sort of an informal group, but now we have formally appointed an educational supervisor who has a real passion and an interest in mentoring Maori students, Maori interns and house surgeons. And so we do, yeah. And I mean, all of the educational supervisors are interested in everything and really committed to it. But I think that in the next few years, you'll notice a real change in sort of formal support and formal support from the DHB from that point of view. Whereas before it's been sort of more led by the interns, there'll be the support from the DHB, and there's a real priority from that now. So yeah, the answer is yes. We're really lucky here to have our patients are lovely too. We've got the best, you know, all patients all over the country, but we've got some really nice, you know, it's a real pleasure to treat our community, and you'll love it here. It's great.
The RMO unit, if you're in the Wellington region, if you happen to be passing through, the RMO unit are more than happy to talk to people. You won't get additional points, but certainly we'll recognise your names when we're coming to go through all 360 or so CVs. And we do the phone interviews, they're not in-person interviews.
So one of those questions is what structures are being put in place to prevent burnout, and that's a really important question because especially with the COVID, you know, COVID hitting in the last couple of years, and then in the last few months, so many of our interns and senior doctors and support staff and nurses and everything have got it and everything. Burnout is a real problem. And so our in particular, our medical RMO coordinator, roster coordinator, is amazing at it. She will contact, you know, if she notices you haven't had any time off, she'll contact you to get time off. She'll you know, you can go to our RMO coordinators and see where there's spaces that you can, and it's really prioritised. It's hard to avoid burnout. You definitely need to be aware of it yourself. Your educational supervisors are there to help you as well, and we're all really aware of it. But yeah, I mean, as much as we try to make sure our house officers take time off and everything, and we're all super aware of it. It's we've got a really, really amazing person in our RMO unit who's really aware of that and just goes above and beyond to help you guys out. So that's Rosita.
Definitely back it up as well, guys. I think it's like really well supported RMO unit. So, and again, with your team of registrars and consultants too, you know, that's a good place to start. But the RMO unit are really supportive if you just feel like you need a break or you just want someone to talk to or know, you know, who to approach. So yeah, can definitely attest to that as well.
We have worked quite hard to make sure that we're fully staffed as much as we possibly can, and we do remarkably well compared with a number of other DHBs, which means that actually we're trying to get you to do your job, not trying to get you to do your job and several of your workmates' jobs who aren't there because there isn't enough staff. That helps.
Yeah. One of the questions is working in Masterton and PGY1 mandatory? No, in fact, it's special. It's mostly PGY2 things, so it would only be a few of you would have to go up and would get to go up in PGY1.
So there's only 14 positions in PGY1 out of the 58 who can go to the Wairarapa. And there's about 14 more will be able to have the opportunity to go up in PGY2 because there's a few positions which are PGY2 only, and obviously because we protect our PGY1s in the first 6 months because of their need to be able to do nights, we have more PGY2s there in the first 6 months of the year.
Question, will we be emailing you in regards to when the interviews will be? Yes, you will be contacted.
Usually what I do, Usually what I do is I get a batch of people who would like to be interviewed, and either myself or our pre-vocational educational supervisors will contact you. I usually text people 48 hours or so, or 24 hours before I have an opportunity. And I do document in that if it's really not going to suit tomorrow night, then let me know and I'll work on it another night, so that we can not make the interview more stressful than it needs to be. It is short. And it's about you being able to sell why we should employ you more than somebody else in your class.
And the difference between Stones and RDA, so the NZ RDA has been around a long time, representing you guys and your interests and helping you guys get negotiate your contracts and really supporting you. And in the more recent times, there's been a new union called Stones, which has been set up historically by more surgically oriented house officers who were concerned about the reduction in training hours and training times. But they again will fight. You know, if you're having trouble, they'll fight for you. They'll come in and they'll help you, and they'll and also, I mean, you guys have been in med school. You have, and your next year and the year after, you're going to be busy on the wards. You don't have time to learn about legal law and employment law and all that sort of stuff. So if you're having trouble, you need to, like, they do it for you. Don't, you know? So you should definitely sign up to one of them. We don't care which one. But I think if you look at it, the websites and stuff, they'll show you. There's usually, I think on one of them anyway, they've got a comparison between the two and everything. But yeah,
talk to them both. We can't make a recommendation at all.
Yeah,
we operate under letters. So you do your homework and talk to them both and make your own decision.
Yeah.
Christine, would you like to just clarify? There's a question for seeking further clarification around the components in terms of how they're ranked, i.e. references or CV. Are any ranked more highly than others?
I'm going to say that we've got some commercial sensitivity on how we do that. We certainly look at all components. We look at your CV, we look at your cover letter, we look at your interview, we look at your expression of interest. We look at your references. In fact, every piece of information that we can find out about you, we will be looking at it, because we feel we need to ethically be able to rank people in a way that's going to be good for the region. And what I didn't want to do was end up with, I'm a surgeon. I didn't want to, we don't need 58 people who are going to be good surgeons. We need 58 people who are going to be good for the region. And we work, all of the components are important. So when you're coming to fill in your ACE application, if they've got a question and you've got something that you can fill in on the space, fill it in, because that will give you additional points. It is quite competitive with the ACE process. That my understanding of the ACE process, which I'm sure will be documented clearly, is that you rank the DHBs between 1 and about 20 as to your preferences, and we rank you between 1 and about 360 for CCDHB. Your preferences are taken first. So if you've put Wellington first, they will then get the list of people who want to come to the Wellington region, and then they will pick off the first 56 of those that have put Wellington as their first preference.
There's no preferencing. The employers don't know what the students are preferencing.
We don't know what you've scored. So the ACE process does that.
Just to make it clear, sorry to butt in, Christine. It's just that the employers will never know what preference order that an applicant has made when the application's forwarded to a DHB.
Correct. So we have to look at every single one of those 360 applicants to figure out who is going to be best for us. And I was concerned that we were just looking at people's academic record, and I didn't think that that was necessarily going to represent our region well. So we don't know whether you've ranked us first through to 20th. However, at the other end, when we find out who we've got, you can spot that there are going to be people who've clearly ranked us highly.
Some of those other questions. So how common do employment opportunities open up throughout the year? What you'll find is your first year is quite prescribed. Your first year is really trying to get your general registration. So your first year goes really fast anyway, but and so moving around in that first year is possible, but not usually done. And the second year, it's fine. If there's a job there and we can swap around and you can transfer it, it's not a problem. In saying that, if you're struggling somewhere and it is in your best interest for social reasons and for support in your whānau somewhere, we will do everything we can to facilitate a movement that is best for you. And we have done in the past and we will do in the future. So the answer is, yep, probably. If we wouldn't do it just because you think, oh, well, there's more party life in Canterbury DHB. But if you had if it was in your best interest to go, then we would absolutely try our very best to help you out. In terms of that Survey Monkey, if you're worried about just seeing Canterbury DHB, for example, we won't tell them, don't worry. No, it doesn't.
We don't know.
Other DHBs.
We don't know. The only way we can tell that you've listed more than one DHB is if you write dear DHBs on your cover letter. Oh, the survey, where they don't see that at all.
The Survey Monkey, no, it's none of their business. This is all for us. And in terms of your social media profile, no, we don't, but maybe we should. Yeah. Also, you're going to be a doctor. You should not have anything able to be seen by people who don't know you on your social media profile. That's just a general sort of piece of advice for you. You should make your social media profile more private. Otherwise, patients will stalk you.
One thing that is very important is if you are in a partnership, apply together, because that's what's generally happened halfway through the year when we get a request to come from somewhere else. It's because they forgot to tell us at the outset that they're part of a partnership and that the two of you want to go to the same place. Really important to apply as a partner.
Practically, it's unusual to move in PGY1, but it does happen, and most often on compassionate grounds. In PGY2, I usually in the first quarter have quite a lot of doctors, or I usually have enough doctors in the first quarter, so I don't employ a lot of PGY2 doctors. However, later in the year, desperately usually in quarter 3, people who are PGY2s, my PGY3s who are moving up to registrar and SHO positions, I then need to fill. And I'm very keen to get good New Zealand applicants to move to Wellington at that point in time. So there's more positions come available second, third and fourth quarters.
But I'd just like to thank all of the panellists for coming along and sharing their time and their insight with regards to working at Wellington. And also sincerely, just a thank you to all of the TIs who have stayed online initially through the first half hour as well. So thank you very much. If you do have any further questions for the team, the contact details for the Wellington region is listed on the ACE RMO website. I'll list the Survey Monkey link a little bit later on next month. And
the sooner the better.
Sooner the better.
Yeah, because it takes...
I'll get it up tomorrow then, actually.
Thank you. It just takes a long time to get through all of the interviews that we do. And if it's, we want to get most of the interviews done before the ACE, before we find out who's actually, what the ACE scores are. So the interview is entirely separate to your ACE application. And most people will have been interviewed before we find out who's actually applied through ACE to us, because there's no way that we can do the number of interviews in the 2 weeks after ACE has said, this is the list of people that you've got. We only interview people who put in an expression of interest. If you don't put in an expression of interest, you won't get an interview, because I can't interview 360 people in my evenings. But we can, and the PESers will interview anybody who puts in an expression of interest to say that they want to come here.